Brock.
Yeah, what's up?
Hi, this is our first actual episode of the Rebel Scum podcast for the year 2019. How you doing?
What?
Crazy, right? We got together, we did our rankings Star Wars. First of all, shout out to everybody that watched that and put your rankings in the comments below. That was pretty cool to read and to find out. Brock, our list was nothing like yours or my personal list or Andrew. It was just amazing how many people we had to determine that outcome.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't watched that, check it out because it is. I'm calling it the definitive ranking Star Wars list because I feel like we just let so many different fans of Star Wars participate in that list that we have this pretty. I think it's a unique list, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it was good. It's different to see the movies moving around now that we have more people contributing to it. So yeah, but it was a lot of fun. It's always great to do that.
Yeah, and I like when we first started, everyone's like, "How can you rank Star Wars? It's impossible." But everyone does it. Everyone is somehow able to come up with a list of 10, and in 11 months, that list will grow to 11.
That's crazy.
Right?
But the most important question that is plaguing the internet today, even though it's not a new question, is whose lightsaber is it? Have you been seeing this on the internet all of a sudden?
I did see this actually, and as you know, I've been living under a rock in the middle of nowhere, so I don't really pay attention to things. But I did see this recently, and true story, thought it was an old story because I thought we were past this bullcrap. That's what I thought. I thought we were past it, and then today I went on Twitter and I noticed, no, it's a brand new thing. So why don't you just inform me a little bit more because I'm ignorant to this crap.
I mean, we've already talked about this, and I thought it was already decided. Well, I don't know if there was ever a decision, but it's been official that the lightsaber that we see in A New Hope, we see in the prequels, and we see in the new Disney Star Wars is officially Rey Skywalker. Rey's lightsaber. It's no longer Anakin's lightsaber. So it's been a big topic on the internet today. This week I found Pablo Hidalgo threw his hat in. Lucasfilm, which I guess is Pablo Hidalgo, but I've heard them mentioned separately. But yeah, they have said it is Rey's lightsaber, but I'm like, really? Cool. I mean, it's fun, but yeah, of course. Or this makes me question that lightsaber is going to come back, but we saw in Last Jedi it was ripped into two pieces. I don't know, but whatever. At least people are talking about Star Wars. That's all that matters.
I think it's the stupidest argument on the planet. Of course, it's Rey's lightsaber. That's been established. It's been her lightsaber for a movie and the end of a movie. It was, I mean, we all called it Luke's lightsaber, but really it was never actually Luke's lightsaber, I guess. It was Anakin. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The new movies, it's Rey's lightsaber. So if you're making toys based on the new movies, it has to be Rey's lightsaber. It could be something cool if they do something where, the kyber crystal inside Anakin was using Luke to get to Rey, but I think that's a little too deep and a little too much for them to pull along, and I don't think a lightsaber needs to be explained that much just to appease fans, to be honest. And if a show like Rebels or Clone Wars or something decided to do a story arc like that about something, whatever. But I think in a film that's a little bit too deep, is what I think.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna go that deep. But yeah, I'm not even joking when I say I thought that was an old story. And I was shocked to learn that people are this dumb. But then, I see other people online and I realize, no, people are that dumb. And I just want to thank the people that mostly watch us because they all don't seem that dumb. They all seem to just genuinely enjoy Star Wars and whatnot, which is nice. Because why nitpick on a toy?
I mean, if that lightsaber doesn't appear in episode 9, I'm going to be really mad because it's I feel like if we're arguing about this, it should be in the next movie.
But who's
especially hers because it's well, Luke is dead, Anakin has been dead for a while. Well, now it's hers. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting that all of a sudden it came back again because I noticed it on Instagram. So like every Star Wars Instagram feed I follow was like, "What do you think? Take a vote." I'm like,
That's
that means and follow the Scum Instagram feed.
I went to I think it was Walmart or a store at Christmas time to buy toys. And there was a toy, and the toy was Rey's lightsaber, and it was, Anakin's lightsaber, and it was blue, and it had a picture of Rey on it, and I was like, oh, it's on sale, that's cool, but I didn't know anybody that I would buy it for, so I didn't, and that was all I thought of that. There was no more. I didn't think like, oh, why wouldn't Anakin be on here? Because nobody cares about Anakin that's going to get this toy today.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. Like, just, they won't. They would have, like 15 years ago, you throw Anakin on it. 30 years ago, you throw Luke on it. Now, why would you put either one of those on it? It's not Luke's. Luke doesn't even touch that lightsaber since Empire Strikes Back, which is 1980. Mm-hmm. That's 900 years ago. So
900 years ago.
But do you know what's happening on today's show, Brock?
No, tell me what we're going to talk about today.
This book here, the side scroller book. There is a copy that Andrew Fantasia will be generously sending out to a winner of the contest that started on our favorite things on Christmas Day. The contest was just to tell us what Andrew Fantasia's favorite Star Wars novel is. Nobody got it right because he can't read, so he doesn't have a favorite book. But he wrote a book, and he gave me this book, and then on New Year's he signed it for me. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see it. He signed the book.
Yeah, I can't read. As I can tell you, he wrote a bunch.
What it said is very private. But he signed the book for me and Aaron because we're too cheap. We only bought one, but it's that thick. So we're going to announce the winner of that book. It was actually way more people participated than I thought. So the hat he's selecting the name. We did it all. So there was a lot of people in that hat. I will say that it was a good draw. He's going to announce that later on in the show. He won't be joining us. We're going to throw to him. So don't worry about connectivity issues with him. It'll all be well and good because he will be inserted later on. Brock, you excited to announce the winner of Side Scroll, or you just not care? You want to move on?
So sorry, that's me. Yes, I'm very excited for Side Bowler. I really like bowling, and it sounds like a good read.
I didn't hear about that in my ear. I didn't hear anything.
No, I'm very excited. Pray for Andrew.
Yay! Everybody. And you can buy that book. If you want to just support him and purchase the book in paperback or Kindle, it is available on Amazon. Link in the description below.
Or if you want to go throw eggs at his house, his address is
It's true. He does. He lives in a house. But other news on the Star Wars front that is, I think, generating almost as much buzz as Rey's lightsaber is the news that Disney announced, or was it Lucasfilm announced, that they will not be pursuing feature films for the Disney Plus streaming service. So this, when you look at the budget of The Mandalorian and what Disney is saying the budget for these Marvel films are going to be, I guess it makes sense that they wouldn't do a feature film. But how did you hear that news, Brock? And how did you react to that? Did you throw a table?
I read it and I was like, I feel like they're gonna maneuver around this somehow. But it makes sense because like when you compare it to Netflix makes movies for Netflix specifically, but Netflix doesn't typically do theater releases. I don't think. I heard
they have to go in the theater to get like award consideration.
That's it. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I occasionally it happens like that, but typically their model is to put movies out. But Disney and Lucasfilm have always put their stuff out on theaters. This streaming site is what's new to them, so I'm not overly surprised because why would they change the model? I mean, they can always change their mind at some other point. Perhaps it won't be considered a feature film, but like we'll see something that's long format that will feel like a feature film. I don't know. That's what most Netflix things feel to me. So I think they'll get around it somehow. I do assume that they will show what they show in the theaters on their streaming site or streaming service, right? We'll get all the original movies. Yeah. Well,
I think they're saying they just won't make them specifically for the streaming site, which I have to say I completely am on board with and fine with, because for me, Star Wars in the theater needs to feel like an event. And if we just keep getting these BS films on Disney Plus, why are we going to go to the theater to care about episode 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever, if we're just like, well, they made 17 different Star Wars movies this year. Like, how is that one separate from the pack? Now, you have a show like The Mandalorian, you have a show like Cassian Andor, you have a show like whatever. That's different because now you have, it's a TV show that's not set, that's completely separate from the films that we're getting, or like Cassian Andor is, it's a spin-off of the films that we're getting. So I think in that respect, it works. And then it's a TV show. It's not a film, so you can spend a little bit more money, a little bit less money, whatever. And it's serialized, so we can come back and keep watching it. I think it makes complete sense to me. And I think it also opens the door and the possibilities of not releasing a Star Wars movie theatrically every year anymore, maybe spreading that out a little bit to create that build-up, that anticipation that I think is really needed in Star Wars films.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. And we got to remember, too, that Disney Plus won't just be Star Wars. It'll be Marvel. It'll be the Disney stuff. So, like, there's probably even a widespread reasoning behind it. But I guess it's like, until, like, theaters just go away, they'll probably want to do this. But if, tomorrow the theaters just shut down, then they would be technically ready to go, because they could just, we'll just put it on there. Yeah. Assuming that, like, streaming just took over, like, no one wants to go to the theater anymore. But maybe someday down the line. But yeah, like, we always talk about it, it's like going to the theater. It's an experience. You can't really get the same when you're at home, right?
But you lose that experience when you have a Star Wars movie coming every 6 months, every year. It starts to slowly, you start to go, well, whatever. Although I do think Solo not being released in December ended up being a massive error on their part. You look at the numbers Mary Poppins did, the numbers Solo did, and I think people were expecting a Star Wars movie in December, and I think even if they were like Star Wars, the building of the Death Star story, and it's just like totally boring, it's just contractors hammering nails in. You put it in December, I think people are just geared to like go now, because it was it 3 years in a row where we're like, we gotta go, and then this year was May, and people were like, I have friends that are just like, it's warm out, didn't feel like going, and plus, and it's Solo, that it's not going to, you know where the character ends up, so it's not a huge surprise. I mean, it ended up being a huge surprise, but it's not a huge surprise. It's not enough for people to care. But if you put that in December when it's cold, miserable, and people are like, yeah, Star Wars time, I think you just automatically go in that direction. Yep. So I'm still saying episode 9 is going to make $1.5 billion.
It makes sense. I mean, look how good Aquaman's doing. And no slam against Aquaman. I like that movie. But if it had to compete with a Star Wars, well, there wouldn't have been a Star Wars. Or I guess it wouldn't have been Han Solo then.
Yeah.
Han Solo could have come out at Christmas. It would have been an interesting run, even though a lot of people are like, I don't know about this. They fired the director. But, like, again, it's like people want to go see a movie at the holidays because most people are off.
And it seems like they want to see that type of, like, I always say this. Well, Harry Potter used to come out, I think, around Thanksgiving. And then they moved it to July, like 1 or 2 of them in July. And once it moved to July, I just kind of was like, nah. I never saw any of the summer releases of Harry Potter. I just stopped. I didn't go. Lord of the Rings was perfect. Christmas time, like Christmas break from college, got to go see Lord of the Rings. And I think those kind of epic films are perfect for the I should say epic, I should say serialized films seem to be a very like, Christmas holiday type thing. And Aquaman, good on Aquaman, good on DC and Warner Brothers for being like, well, we'll take over that this year, and it succeeded. Good for them.
Yeah.
But speaking of Solo and the announcement of no films on Disney Plus, does this mean that Solo 2 is officially dead?
I don't know. I want them to make a movie. I feel like it should be an asterisk. I always say this. It's like they should attempt it one more time. And I said, like, you could put the characters. It doesn't have to be Solo 2. It could be Boba Fett or, I don't know, figure something out. Like, there's a way of doing it. I mean, you've created this stuff already. I don't know what it takes for them to understand. But anyways, I say asterisk. It's like they fired the directors midway through. It's like you can't like judge because you decided to just completely take the movie. Well, not completely, but like they changed the actual outcome of the movie. So it's sort of, well, because Ron Howard did a great job. It's still a good movie in my opinion. A lot of people like it. You're never gonna win with fans because it's like, oh, I didn't like that one. Because there's so many now. It's like if they don't fit the mold of like the original, you know, like.
Well, I mean, even George Lucas couldn't win with fans, so you're never gonna win with fans.
Yeah, but anyways, I think they should try again because like they have this awesome setup at the end, and it's like, oh yeah, that'd be interesting. And I don't feel like Han Solo's story is complete yet because you're just like. The Han Solo at the end of Solo and the Han Solo you see in A New Hope aren't exactly the same person yet. So it's sort of like, well, you've set it up to make another one. Just make... You can't tell me Star Wars doesn't make $1 billion like every year, like over billions of dollars. Like, just make it. Like, who cares? I don't know. That's just me. I'm not business savvy, so whatever.
So say Solo made, a little bit less, but comparable to Ant-Man and the Wasp. And nobody talks about that as a failure. Everybody says that's great. So I think there's expectation on Star Wars. I think part of it is Star Wars should be that event film that should bring in $1 billion that people should be excited to go see. And Solo proved to be the opposite of that. And I know people blame it on The Last Jedi, but I maybe that affected a small portion of it. To a degree, I know there are people that did not go see Solo because of The Last Jedi, but I think, excuse me, but I think, there's just, I think the 6 months ended up being that the difference maker. It was like it was the summertime, it was that, but what about this, Brock? What about the possibility of Solo 2, not being Solo 2? If you look at the cast of Solo, Alden Ehrenreich, he's been in what, 2 movies? Emilia Clarke, who's been on Game of the Thrones, Glover, who's been on Community in Atlanta, Woody Harrelson, Cheers. A lot of the actors, Jon Favreau, Friends, a lot of the actors were on TV shows. I'm joking about Favreau, but he wasn't. But a lot of them were from TV shows. What about the potential of an 8 to 10 episode series on Netflix? About the Solo characters.
Let's do it. I mean,
but would you be?
I think we're still.
Would you be okay with that over Solo 2?
Yeah, I'd be fine as long as it maintained somewhat of the same quality of storytelling, which people are like quality of storytelling. But no, it was. I want to know more about Kira. I want to know more about young Han Solo. I want to know more about Crimson Dawn. I mean, I think anyone could agree that like learning more about Crimson Dawn would be worth it. I think it's fun, and let's create this new. Well, it's not. I don't know. Is it new? Is Crimson Dawn new, or did they use it before? I remember there was Black Sun, but
I feel like it was mentioned, but I'll have to look that up. If anybody knows, let us know in the comments below because we'll be lazy and I'll look it up. But I'll probably look it up because it sounded familiar. But it was never. I never associated with spoilers with Darth Maul while I was watching the movie, obviously. So it was probably new for the film. And if it wasn't new, it was probably created like it's probably mentioned in Shadows of the Empire, like Black Sun and Crimson Dawn, like just like a throwaway line, which it actually kind of is for a little bit in Solo. There are moments of things that are thrown away. So,
what I was gonna say is like I think even though it's 2019 and I think we still hold the same belief that like TV isn't good as film, but that's not the case. Like you get a lot of A-list actors. They're doing TV shows. Like Don Cheadle has a new show on Showtime, and he's in Avengers. He doesn't have to be in a TV show, but he's been in like a few TV shows, and they've done well. So it's like, and with the caliber of shows created by like HBO, Showtime, can't think of any other bigger channels, but you know what I mean. Like Tandy Newton is in Westworld, and then also in Star Wars. But like people were excited she was in Han Solo or Solo because of her role in Westworld, and like she's such a small part of Solo when you think about it. But she did so well on this show that people are like, yes, this is amazing. And she was an actress, like she's been in movies before, so it's like why? But people get excited when you've done a really cool project. And like I said, HBO has brought up the caliber of TV show that it's like Game of Thrones is almost as epic as a Star Wars film or a Lord of the Rings. So we can make that on Disney Plus, you know, so let's do it. I don't know. Maybe there's no reason they couldn't make a TV show. It did well, and they're like, why don't we make a movie now? Like, why can't you? Can't? There's no reason you can't do it.
Yeah, I think, you know, aside from all the actors that haven't been on TV shows in the past, I think it's a perfect outlet. And now, like you just said, the lines of TV and film are so blurred, especially, you know, you look at Netflix. Netflix has, let's say tomorrow, Brock, you're like, I'm going to watch Infinity War. But then you watch, you know, Daredevil, Punisher, for whatever reason, leading up to Infinity War. And in your mind, because you're watching it all on the same service, it's all the same caliber to you. Like, it's all the exact same. It doesn't. There's no separation like it used to be with, you know, the Brady Bunch movie versus the Brady Bunch film. It's all there on one platform for you. So mentally, you're just, it's all the same. And the quality, you know, the most important thing is obviously the quality, and the quality of those shows is there. And when you're spending, with The Mandalorian spend like $80 million, $100 million an episode or the season, either way, it's a lot of freaking money. I think you got to believe the quality is going to be there. Where when you watch that, you're not going to be like, "Well, this is the TV. This is the droids to the New Hope." You know, that's not how it's going to be. And I think that's really the difference in all this is, you know, it doesn't lessen. It won't lessen Solo or Star Wars anymore if they decide to do that. And everyone knows I love that movie, and I want to see more. And truthfully, as much as I want to see more Solo because I'm a huge fan of the character, Kira and Maul. That's, you know, I want to be taken on that ride a little bit more. And I know Beckett got a one-off comic. I have not had a chance to read it. I don't know if you have, but I want to know more about Beckett as well. Which is someone I don't think we'll go the Cassian Andor route with that one, but I would like more Beckett too. And I think one last point for me here is I think we were getting all this stuff in comic form before, and the comics, from what I've, you know, but you telling me and other people telling me, they've been doing a really good job as of late with that stuff. I know they got off to a bit of a rocky start, but it seems they've really found their footing on a few of these stories and whatnot. And I think now their opportunity is to even move away from comics. Comic schools still have their place. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to diminish their role. But now for people that don't read comics, oh, here's a 5-episode story about blah. And they can throw it on there, and then all of a sudden it gives you the opportunity as well to expand lore a lot more. How we always talked before Rogue One, how kyber crystals essentially did not exist to the everyday fan before Rogue One, because no one really talked about them in the films. They're not a rule. I know there's a deleted scene from Return of the Jedi, but a common fan wouldn't scour the internet to find that deleted scene of Luke putting the crystal in the lightsaber, so they just wouldn't know. They wouldn't watch Clone Wars. They just would not know. And Rogue One was like, yeah, there's a crystal. It's the heart of a lightsaber. And they're like, oh, okay. And then you start, like, it's just another way for them to expand the lore for, especially the everyday fans. Maybe not you and I, with people watching this, but you know, your mom, your dad, and everyone like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we can both agree that like Disney Plus is a place where like a lot of fun Star Wars things can be created, because now it's like, we run the show, you're paying us to make more stuff, so we'll see what happens. But I'm excited. I really hope there isn't a huge delay in getting it here in Canada, because I am all in. Like, I will subscribe immediately. Yeah, absolutely. That is a guarantee.
Absolutely. I think it'll be a shame if we don't get it here. But it also wouldn't surprise me, because we get the Shaft all the time.
Yeah.
Especially for like you, where you grew up, when you are literally like, you can walk across the border. It's like, well, why? Why can't I get anything? It's like, oh, remember when we were younger and you watched the Super Bowl and you actually, is it still tough to watch the American ads on the Super Bowl? It was like impossible forever. It was like, nah.
I think it's like out of order or something like that.
Yeah, it's we get the shaft on everything. All right, let's move on to Never Tell Me the Odds.
Never tell me the odds.
Star Wars Celebration is quickly coming up. Chicago, get ready for us. We are coming for you. Deep dish pizza, and the Blue Jays are better than the Cubs. Yeah, right. I can't even finish that. I did finish it, but I laughed. So our odds are going to be all about Star Wars Celebration, which, Brock, you are very excited to attend. The first odd is one that will make my day, but I'll probably avoid it at all costs because I'll be lazy, is the odds of a Phantom Menace anniversary panel. We talked about how it's the 20th anniversary on our ranking. What are the odds of this happening? Yep. Nothing's been announced. This is what's craziest. Nothing has been announced.
Yeah, 100%. It's maybe not the main focus of the convention, but like it would be silly not to. You've got 5 days to fill. I know the first day isn't really got any events. But you gotta, why not? Because like the last one, they were like the 40th anniversary, right, of A New Hope. Why not? Like it's an easy fill, like, and people are interested in stuff like that, especially with Darth Maul showing up in Solo. They'll love it, and they'll give a reason to bring Ray Park back.
Yeah, Ray Park. Do you bring? Are you able to get someone like Jake Lloyd? But you can have with Natalie Portman attend. Samuel L. Jackson, I think for sure would be there. Liam Neeson, who had like these guys all had shout outs. They were pre-rolled, but they were shout outs at the 40th anniversary panel. So I think those would be. I think it would be fun. I'm going to go 85%.
Fair. I mean. Yeah, it's like, do we need to do it? But I feel with the most conventions, there's always like, we gotta, like you, especially when it gets big like this one does, like the 5 days, it's like, well, we gotta fill a lot of stuff. So,
but 20 years is a good number. I mean, 25 would be probably a better number, but 20 years is pretty big. It might not, I don't think it'll be a huge surprise with John Williams, and maybe George Lucas isn't there. Who knows? But I would like to see it. I like to see Ahmed Best come up, because one thing that actually happened on that 40th anniversary panel, and I'll never forget, because you and I and the rest of the scumbags, we were all in line to get in for 4.5 years. And while we were in line, we were watching the 40th anniversary panel on our phones. But also I was reading the Twitter, and when Hayden Christensen came out, he got like an applause and I think a standing ovation or something. And people were tweeting like, does anyone remember how terrible he was? And blah, blah, blah. And yeah, people do. But also, you're not going to boo somebody when you're at something called Star Wars Celebration. Side act, maybe Ryan Johnson. We don't know what kind of people are going to Celebration this year, which makes me nervous.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, but you're at Celebration, and it's been 10 years since he portrayed the like. You're not going to boo him. And I think, like you always say, Clone Wars kind of has altered that character for you in your mind, and everyone knows how I feel. I'm a huge, and I don't even care about anything. I like that, but also we were there, and I know somebody who does not like his portrayal of Anakin whatsoever. And when we saw him at the stage, this person cheered extremely loud for him. So and I think someone like Ahmed Best, I think that would be amazing to see. And also I'm a huge Jar Jar fan, but it would be amazing to see him come out to an applause. Now, whether or not he would accept that, sounds like he probably wouldn't actually, but it would be. I just think it would be something very nice for someone like that. We've all heard his story now. He's come out and talked about that, and he comes out there, and I think it would be nice to see him get the applause. I think he deserves, because he did. You don't have to like Jar Jar, but I think he did a phenomenal job portraying what he was hired to do. Exactly.
Like I always think about like, oh yeah, that's not a real person in the suit. That's just CG. Like obviously. Now that we're savvy with CG, looking at it, you're like, oh, I can tell that's not real. But I always, like when I watched that movie, I was like, oh yeah, that's a character. Like that's the thing. They're looking right at him, but like, no, it was just him wearing the hat, like
he was basically the
Jar Jar as a hat, right?
Yeah, he was basically the first motion capture.
Yeah, But I remember I went to Fan Expo and Anthony Daniels was there, and he mentions Jar Jar, and there's like 7-year-old girl in front of me started booing Jar Jar, and I'm like, because she's with her dad, I'm like, what brainwashing have you done? Like, Jar Jar is for kids. She was like, boo, Jar Jar. I'm like, whoa. Yeah. That was weird. But yeah, it'd be cool to see him there. Anyways, yeah.
Because that wouldn't happen. He would get in a plus, I think. Next the odds of the trailer for Episode 9. We might get one before Celebration, but do you think we will get one at Star Wars Celebration Chicago?
I mean, there's a lot of talk that there's something made, that their trailer is almost complete. I don't know how true it is. And like people, they're like, there's like, well, they're scraping it together so like the higher ups have something to look at. I think it would be great because it was so much fun to be at the last one and they revealed Last Jedi. But that's a long way off, I guess. April's not a bad time to release it, in my opinion. I'm gonna go 75%.
Yeah, I'll go 75 as well, because just like I said, it's the perfect time. But they also haven't shown us anything, which they did not for The Last Jedi either.
Yeah.
And The Force Awakens was a completely different beast. So they obviously gave us that teaser around Thanksgiving for that. But that was a different animal completely. I don't think you can compare any Star Wars going forward to The Force Awakens. You can compare The Force Awakens to The Phantom Menace, but that's it. Those are the only two comparables that I think you can have. And it's even more heightened because of social media and the online presence that has come into play since then. But yeah, I think 75% is good. It was fun watching it in the show stage floor. Where that was when Hayden Christensen came out. Rob disappeared to go to the show store for a bit and came back with pins and whatnot. and it was good. It was cool being surrounded by all the Star Wars fans, just like in awe of what we were watching, and then talking about it afterwards. And like, we gotta watch it again. Let's watch it again right now. That was a lot of fun. So I'm gonna go 75. And our final odd. For the first episode of 2019 are the odds of 1 or 2 episodes of The Mandalorian making their debut at Celebration. I find this one.
Have they announced?
No, it's the first thing that's going to go on Disney Plus, and it's going to be at the end of the year.
Right.
So
okay.
What?
I think they'd be silly not to show something.
Well, I don't think we're going to get a trailer, but we'll get an episode or 2. Not us, like just the people that are lucky enough to be in that panel.
Yeah, I'm going to go 70% because I think it could happen. Because they've done that in the past, right? So it would be amazing to do it. But I guess how long are those episode's supposed to be? Probably like 45 minutes to an hour. Well, it's streaming, so it'll be a full hour, right? That's a long time to have someone sit in a panel. You know what I mean?
Well, we did a half hour for Rebels. I think I'm gonna say 60%. But if they do any, it'll be 1 episode. Because I think that would be such a cool way. It's called Star Wars Celebration. Celebrate it. Let's do it. Let's see what's up. Let's see it. I
think that does when we go to Celebration to look at the schedule and look how much time is in between one panel and the next, and it's like if there's an abnormal space of time that like, oh wait a second, something is going to go longer than usual. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but those panels are usually spaced out in those rooms pretty. The big panels, we'll see. We'll get an idea. I think we'll have an idea whenever the hell they announce what's going on at Celebration Chicago, because all we know is Resistance is going to be there. That's all we know so far. All right,
and Clone Wars.
Yes,
Clone Wars.
I think we will. I think if you're lucky enough to be in the Clone Wars panel, you will at least watch 1 episode of Clone Wars or like an extended trailer for it. I think that's going to happen. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of pizza. I think a lot of us are going to roll our ways onto the plane afterwards from eating all that deep dish. I'm on a few Star Wars Celebration sites or pages on Facebook, and the locals are all like, you got to go here, you got to go here. And we have some viewers that are like, I'm from Chicago, here's what you want to do. And we will arrange a meet and greet, and our connectivity issues will be no problem at our meet and greet. we'll have fun. We'll just go somewhere, have some food, and talk Star Wars with anybody that wants to. Okay, Brock, you got news?
I got news. Let me open it up. Today on Hollow News, it's kind of a slow news day because most of the stuff that was up was what we were going to talk about anyways. But I found a few things. Mark Hamill, everybody's favorite twatter person, is back at it again. Someone was like, "Hey, Mark Hamill, tell us the title of episode 9." Like they would let him do that, but in his usual fashion, he decided to mess with people and posted a Star Wars. It's, the typical Star Wars on a Starscape. It says episode 9. Thank you. Next, which obviously is a reference to the Ariana Grande song that's very popular these days. So he's very funny, and of course Ariana Grande, and he had a back and forth. She was pretty psyched about being mentioned by Luke Skywalker. But again, people, stop talking to Mark Hamill. He's not going to tell you anything. Or maybe he will reveal it. I don't know. But again, it's like, Mark, stop it. Next story is a local story happening in Toronto here. There, in the 12th Division, there's someone referred to as the Star Wars cop. Peter de Quintal, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly, the community school liaison officer for Toronto's Police Service's 12th Division. He does this thing where he goes in and meets the kids, and he brings something to do with Star Wars. He's had actual stormtroopers show up to these events in full movie, whatever. I think he owns his own costumes. He just posted an authentic Darth Vader costume with him in it, where the mask actually comes off at the end of Return of the Jedi. But he does this to make all his kids or children programs more interesting to the kids. It talks a lot about safety in the neighborhood. It's like it pushes the helmet programs in Toronto, which is a big deal with kids on bikes. So he just does this to make it more exciting. He even talks about his breakfast program where he uses the Darth Vader waffle maker, which I believe you have, James.
I do.
So he brings that to the breakfast programs, and apparently it's very fun to be at these things. So God bless our own Toronto officers bringing in the Star Wars love. And then our final story, again, not much going on. This is all theory, but the Reddit contributor Planet of Misfit Soldiers has claimed that they know what the new title will be. Doesn't reveal it, but is giving hints.
It sounds like
I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember why they know, but anyways, it's the Planet of Misfit Soldiers says it's a bleak title. If your guess has rise, dawn, new, birth, rebirth, redeem, reformed, hope, spark, etc., you're way off the mark. They definitely want this thing to feel hopeless and dark. And he said, now this next part is just my speculation given the materials that I have access to and the things I've seen. But I think the first act or so of the film is going to be pretty dark before we see anything start turning around. I think they are definitely going to hammer home that the First Order is very much running things and the rebels are clearly underdogs. So obviously none of this could be actually accurate, but I threw it in there because it's that's kind of fun. But yeah, it's interesting. The first mention is no new rebirth, risen or something. Those are all of our choices when we did what could the title be?
I want to look back and I gotta watch that video back and see what my choices for titles were.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of those kind of words. I think we had other things.
I have mine right here. Mine were The Sith Awaken, The First Jedi, Snoke Snoke, Revenge of the Jedi, and Resistance. Those are mine.
So the obvious guesses are not correct. I don't know, but that was fun. I'm I don't know how he knows. He's one of those guys that are kind of like the Making Star Wars website where it's just
we know things.
And
okay.
Fan
it's fatty fan theories. He's just He's all, is that all for the news?
That's all for the news that you need to know.
All right. Let's announce the winner of this bad boy right here, Side Scroller. This is the book by Andrew Fantasia. Before we throw to Andrew to tell us who the winner is, I just want to read the back. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Side Scroller, Andrew Fantasia. It says on the back, break up, make up, level up. Welcome to Coinopolis. That's where it takes place. Where everything runs on video game logic and everyone wears their heart on their sleeve. Sprite and Pixel are a happy young couple with their whole lives ahead of them. ... Until, quite suddenly, they're not. Their heads get taken off. When one of them is put in mortal peril, the other assembles a last-minute rescue team that includes a cowardly bodyguard, a washed-up, I don't even know what that word is, parapsychologist. What? Is that like a... sounds interesting. And a mysterious millionaire. He based that one on me. Together, they'll have to leave the safety of Coinopolis and venture out into the wilds, a place where monsters run rampant and even a sunset could be fatal. Oh, and do we mention the robots? Because, yeah, there are robots. That is Side Scroller by Andrew Fantasia. Get your copy on Amazon.com. Brock, do you want to send it over to Andrew to find out the winner of this contest?
Andrew, who won?
Hello, scumbags. Andrew Fantasia here, and we're going to announce the winner of our book giveaway contest. If you remember back in the Favorite Things episode, we promised you with binding legal words out of Brock and James's mouth that the first person to send in an answer to a specific question would get a free signed copy of this. This is my novel, Side Scroller. It is a sci-fi adventure romance set in a world that runs on video game logic, and it's 2 tons of toe tapping fun, and I mean that literally because you can see how heavy it is. So we decided to pick a winner based on a question regarding the Favorite Things episode. The question was, what book did I say was currently my favorite book in Star Wars canon? And after a lot of poking and prodding through those comments, we found our winner, and that winner is Christine Allison. Congratulations, Christine. You got the answer right. You remembered that my favorite canon novel, for now, is Bloodline, because Bloodline's a pretty damn fantastic book. So congratulations, Christine. Your signed copy of Side Scroller will be arriving within a few weeks. It won't have this ugly banner across the front. Don't worry, that's just because it's my special proof copy. Yours will actually look nice. And I hope you enjoy the book, and thank you all for watching and submitting answers and all that fun stuff. And if you didn't win a copy of this, that's okay, because you can get it on Amazon.com. All you got to do is hop on Amazon, type in Side Scroller, and you'll see this sexy puppy somewhere in the search results. So congrats again, Christine. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you around. Until then, may the force of others be with you.
Yay! No more! Congratulations to Christine Allison, but no more Andrew.
Andrew's cut off.
Done.
He will never be on again. And Christine, he will, like he said, he's going to sign that, send it to you. Feel free to burn it in a fire later on.
Yes, please. And then that's the video. That would be perfect.
Just like Vader's, just like Lucas
stars on Amazon.
But be sure, everybody, if you do buy the book, if you don't buy the book, give it a rating on Amazon, because the way things work is you need at least 100 reviews on Amazon, negative or positive, in order for Amazon to even acknowledge your product. So if you can go ahead on Amazon and give Andrew's book, Side Scroller, a review. It is a good book. He's a great author, all jokes aside. I hate being honest. Anyway, I hate Andrew, but let's move on to Top 5.
Top 5.
Today's Top 5
What's
brought
the
to
top
you
5
by,
today, Jane?
Well, it's brought to us by Side Scroller.
Scroll to the side if you don't want to read this.
Break up, make up, level up, Side Scroller, available now. And it's also brought to us by the Den of Nerds. Josh has not paid us in Patreon. He is withholding until he reappears on the show. Today's Top 5 is a great one. Top 5, I lost it. It is top 5 projects we wish would happen on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
That's what we're going to call it in Canada, obviously. Disney Plus.
My number 5 is, I put it low because I know it'll never happen, but we need a new Ewok project. That's right. Bring back Ewoks. Put Teak in it. Like, it'll be amazing. And do it almost the same quality as the 80s movies or 70s movies, whenever those movies came out. Like, just have Ewoks running around and put Wicket in it. I'm sorry Warwick Davis can't do it, but
why
put
can't
him
he
in
do
it.
it. He's in a costume. His age plays no factor in this. He can do it. I'm with you on that one.
Maybe he doesn't want to eat.
My number 5 is a young Sheev Palpatine. Not so much about Sheev, but we look at so I didn't put Solo 2 or anything like that on this because we talked about that already, and everybody knows that I want that, and there's no surprise. But young Sheev could be kind of cool, and we can kind of learn more about him. Maybe throw in some Snoke in there. You can have little things about how he learned to cheat death and Darth Plagueis, and more about how the Sith hid from the Jedi Order for so long, and how he learned to manipulate and hide the cloud visions and whatnot. I think it would be an interesting show that would work on Disney Plus.
Nice. For my number 4, I'm gonna go with a fan service live action Ahsoka. That would be sweet.
Yeah.
Or just an Ahsoka thing to itself. I don't know, but we all know we love Ahsoka, so let's get more of her.
Yeah, clearly Ahsoka. I think Ahsoka theatrically might not be as exciting to a lot of people. I shouldn't say a lot, to the casual fans, but Ahsoka on a Disney Plus would, I think, blow. Yeah, I think they would do Bird Box numbers.
It would blow.
Mine is an Iden Versio live action, because why the hell not? Battlefront story is cool. There's areas in there you can add to it in between the ending of Battlefront and that new chapter that came out, like in between there with her quote unquote daughter. That's not Rey. I think that would be kind of fun to do. And I think she was a cool character, and the Inferno Squad's a cool squad as well.
Yeah, I was just talking about that recently. I'm like, they could totally make her into a film or TV character, because Janina Gavankar actually looks like that. So
she's going to be at Celebration.
Available.
And now she's at Celebration.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and she was there 2 years ago, but it wasn't like a thing. They were just like, and by the way, this is the actress playing her. She was like, hi, I'm here. And then sat back down. You went in that panel. Yeah, and then it's back. But yeah, she's going to be there. She's totally into it. And you mentioned this a bunch of times when they're promoting Battlefront. She was totally into this stuff, like into promoting it.
Yeah.
She was just having a lot of fun with it. So I think that'd be a lot of fun. My number 3, is a Jedi Order in their prime.
So what does that mean? Like just prior to Phantom Menace,
or
when
they're like the head honchos, or even maybe before that, before they're even part of like democracy. When they're like a group of like Robin Hood's men, like kind of building their way up or something. Like something about the Jedi though. The Sith aren't really a problem, and they're just out there.
Yeah.
Basically, it's Criminal Minds but Jedi. Criminal Minds is
interesting,
ending.
yeah.
Criminal Minds is ending. You got to pick it up. It lasts for 15 years. I'm just saying. You add lightsabers to. I don't know any of the characters' names on Dangerous Minds because I've never seen it. Wait, Dangerous Minds? Keep spending most of our lives living in a gangster's. That's Julio. Anyway, I've never actually watched that show. Aaron watches it all the time. Yeah, that's my number 3.
I'm kind of in the same vein. I want a Jedi show. Let's go young Yoda, because that would be interesting. Because you pretty much could do anything and it wouldn't affect anything else.
Absolutely. My number 2, pod racing.
Yeah.
Pod racing show.
Trying to think of what you could do, what could be the equivalent. Like maybe if it's like a Grand Tour, or what was the other show those guys had where it's like they're talking, it's like an actual show about cars, but like they make it seem like it's like this is pod racing. But it's more of a show. It's like,
yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't watch television, Brock.
Congratulations.
I only watch Star Wars and Ninja Turtles.
I know.
That's all I watch. Actually, no.
That was.
I've been watching Die Hard lately, and Jaws. Those are what I watch. That's all.
What number was that? That was two, or
on 2, yeah.
Did I do my number 2?
You did not.
No, I did. You said pod racing after I said Yoda. My number 2 is going to be another fan service. Knights of the Old Republic. Let's do it. Like, it's interesting. You could literally do that video game into a show, and it's like, yeah, that's great, but you don't have to. I think people will accept it because they'll understand what's going on. That's the most important thing, I think, about Knights of the Republic. You put it in a different time era, but people understood it and completely accepted it.
Absolutely. I left that off my list because I just wanted to do like ones that I didn't think were going to happen necessarily. So let's go. Brock, give me your number 1. I'll save my number 1 for after. There's a reason for that.
My number 1 is going to be Poe Dameron, the fastest pilot in the galaxy.
Wow.
Oscar Isaac has never had a problem with doing any type of projects. He's done an HBO show. He's a voice in Resistance. I don't think he's above anything. So, I mean, and you could get all the characters again, because I don't think Greg Grunberg's doing anything right now. And you can get the girl that was, I forget her name, but she was in Game of Thrones and Iron Fist. So she can do these TV shows. Boom. Bring back Black Squadron or whatever.
And Paige Tico can show up as well, and Rose Tico, and we're gonna have everyone can. Yeah, there's a lot of avenues for them to explore there.
Yeah.
My number 1 is gonna perfectly bookend this list. Ewoks. You were like, "This is a low on the list." I was like, "What low?" I was like, it should be number 1 on the list. That's my number 1. I love the Ewoks. Bring them back. You know what? Imagine if they brought them back in a way though that made adults love them, and people are like, I like Ewoks now. That is my hope and my wish and my dream for the Ewoks. This is episode. What episode is this now? 114, 115, 112.
115.
We've been doing this.
No, we already did one.
We've been doing this a lot.
115.
If you guys haven't seen our ranking Star Wars, go on the YouTube channel. Check out our ranking Star Wars. Let us know what your rankings of the Star Wars film is, because the thing I liked about this year, like I said, is that it was so many different lists combined, because it's so hard to make a list, and it's so BS anyway, because there is no such thing as a list. Like, I could not put, I'm like, this is my favorite top 10 Star Wars films, but then tomorrow I'll watch, the one that ranked last on my list, and I'm like, but I thought this was last on this. But yeah, but it's not really a list. So it was fun just to have everybody's list and add them together. And then people complaining that our list was, how can you have this so low? Well, we didn't really have it so low. That's just how it is. So
low.
114 weeks. Congratulations, Christine Allison, on winning Side Scroller. But there might be another chance, if you didn't win it, for somebody else to win another copy coming soon.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have access to this book.
Copies of these books.
Huh?
Why don't we not have free copies of these books? Andrew,
I had to buy
how much more advertisement do you need?
I had to buy mine at over face value. He was like, it's selling for this much, you're going to pay this much. I said, okay. No, it's like I said, check it out on Amazon if you want it, but there will be another opportunity to win this book coming up in the near future. So congratulations, Christine. Thanks for watching. This was a lot of fun, Brock. Happy New Year to you and yours, even though we're almost into February, but Happy New Year to you. And you, of course, were always Scum.
Side-scrolling Scum.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.